On this Sunday night, a community rocked. Oshawa, Ontario's General Motors plant will be closing. The impacts will be felt far and wide.
I think most people would be surprised to find out how limited the evidence often is, both regarding the benefits and the harms.
We kick off a week-long CBC News investigation into implants, looking at the medical devices under your skin.
A lot of the things I had worried about, a lot of the things that I thought mattered, just are not important.
And Michael Bublé is back with a message and a new album. Tom Power chats with the superstar about love. And yes, you'll hear him say, this is The National. So the rumors have long swirled in the close-knit Ontario community. Bad news could be coming from their most famous employer, the car plant so many in Oshawa have connections to. Tonight, it seems that news has arrived. Thousands of General Motors workers and their families are suddenly in a very precarious spot. Catherine Cullen has been working the phones on the story and joins us now live from our Ottawa bureau. So, Catherine, take us through what you've been able to confirm about GM.
Well, Adrian, we know that federal officials are having conversations already about how to help the workers who are expected to be told tomorrow that they are losing their jobs. This is a move that is going to have a huge impact. Obviously, the thousands of workers themselves, their families, but the economic ripple effect will be felt far beyond General Motors. In a lot of ways, this General Motors plant in Oshawa, it's a symbol of Canada's automotive industry. And we understand that this is part of a bigger shift that's going on at the company, away from the kinds of vehicles that they are making at the Oshawa plant, these larger automobiles, and a greater emphasis instead on electric and hybrid vehicles. It's part of actually a bigger global shift at General Motors, and it will obviously raise questions for GM workers elsewhere in Canada about how they might be affected by all of this. Now, it is worth noting that this is a company and an industry that the federal government invested billions of dollars in the form of a bailout just about a decade ago to try to avoid some of the pain that we are now going to be feeling. And this is coming, of course, at a time where Canada's energy industry is already struggling and staggering. Another blow like this to Canada's economy, Adrian, certainly not one that is going to be welcome.
All right, Catherine Cullen in Ottawa tonight. Thanks, Catherine. So let's go right to the heart of this story. Natalie Nanowski is outside the GM plant in Oshawa, joins us now. Natalie, if you can, what is the latest you're hearing there about what might happen?
Well, people are telling us right now that they're upset. We've positioned ourselves inside the employee parking lot. So as workers come in, drop off their cars and head in, we've been trying to speak to them. Many of them rushed by us, but some told us that they have been hearing rumors for weeks. Moments ago, the mayor was also here speaking with us. He told me that he's worked at this GM plant when he was younger, that his mom and dad worked here, and that his brother still works here. He has also had a very good relationship with the managers here at GM. So he says today when they didn't pick up his phone calls, he was quite upset, and he was even more upset when he says he had to learn the news through the media. Have a listen.
It would have been nice to be ahead of this than behind it, and I'm hoping tomorrow that General Motors has a plan. If this is more than a rumor, that the transition will be effective and efficiently, and they treat the city and the people that work in this building with the dignity that they deserve. They have helped make General Motors incredibly successful. This is not the way we should be finding out what's going on.
So we also reached out to General Motors. They told us that they're not going to be giving us an update tonight, that everything is going to come out tomorrow morning. Adrian?
Okay, Natalie, auto plants we know are often the heart of a community. So what does this one plant mean for Oshawa?
Adrian, General Motors has been in Oshawa for over 100 years. This particular plant has been here since the 1950s. At its peak, it employed about 30,000 people. Today, it employs 3,000. So that's the number of people that are expected to lose their jobs tomorrow when the news comes out officially. However, this does come as a little bit of a surprise to some, because in 2016, GM invested a lot of money into this plant in order to keep keep it competitive. And it promised that it was going to keep production out of this plant going until 2020 for 4 years. So right now, Unifor, the union that represents auto workers, tells us that GM is going to be shutting this plant down in 2019, falling a year short of its promise. But of course, again, we're going to have to wait until tomorrow morning when all of those details are expected to come to light. Adrian?
Okay, thanks, Natalie. Natalie Nanowski at the GM plant in Oshawa tonight. So as Natalie mentioned, the Oshawa facility has been making cars since 1907. GM acquired the plant in 1918 and built it really into one of the largest auto factories on the planet. The company's website says Oshawa Assembly is the most decorated plant with 29 J.D. Power awards, a proven track record of great quality and customer satisfaction. In 2015, GM cut about 1,000 union jobs there, from 3,600 to 2,600. So there are plenty of anxious people tonight. Auto manufacturing news is always political, and there's already a flurry of reaction to this tonight. Let's have a look. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer tweets, "This is terrible news tonight for thousands of auto workers and their families. My heart goes out to all those affected by this devastating decision. Conservatives will monitor this closely and stand up for those affected." Aaron O'Toole, the Conservative MP for Durham, tweeted, "Extremely concerned about reports regarding potential closure of GM Canada Oshawa operations." And then there's the Oshawa NDP MPP, Jennifer French, who released a statement that says, in part, if GM Canada is indeed turning its back on 100 years of industry and community, abandoning workers and families in Oshawa, then this is a callous decision that must be fought. We're going to continue to track reaction to this story, and there will be a lot. So let's recap here. Workers in Oshawa are worrying tonight about a full-scale shutdown of the GM plant there. There will be an announcement tomorrow. We're not just talking about Canada. This is part of a global restructuring. And this comes just days after the federal government announced billions of dollars over 6 years to try to keep companies investing in Canada. So this is going to sting. Let's turn now to something different, also difficult though, a major CBC News investigation. For the ravages of age and circumstance, modern medicine increasingly has a solution installed in our bodies. For example, doctors in Canada implant more than 20,000 pacemakers, replace more than 50,000 hips, more than 60,000 knees every year. But in the rush to fulfill the promise of medical implants, there are risks. So when devices fail, who is accountable? Today, CBC News launches the Implant Files, the result of a joint investigation between CBC News, Radio-Canada, and the Toronto Star in collaboration with the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists. Vicadopia shows us what that investigation has uncovered.
From cochlear implants to heart valves, breast implants, and artificial hips, more and more Canadians have medical devices in them or on them. But when they fail, they can harm us. Over several months, our data journalists analyzed thousands of device incidents we obtained from Health Canada using access to information requests. We found artificial hips coming loose, pelvic mesh inflicting pain, and heart implants delivering shocks. Over the last decade, devices are said to have played a role in about 1,400 deaths in Canada, more than 14,000 injuries, and 80,000 incidents that had the potential for injury or death. Companies were also late in reporting these problems to Health Canada, almost 15,000 times.
I didn't know there were so many problems with the insulin pumps.
This doctor and researcher says these may sound like a lot of incidents, but the real numbers are actually higher. Incidents frequently don't get reported, and that's a problem because those reports are often the only proof of how safe a new device is.
People assume that there must be a lot of evidence backing a device if it is approved by Health Canada, and I think most people would be surprised to find out how limited the evidence often is, both regarding the benefits of these devices and regarding the harms.
Medical devices are a growing, competitive $500 billion global business.
It is a dog-eat-dog business.
Our international partners discovered that device companies have paid more than $2 billion to settle charges of corruption, fraud, and other violations worldwide in the past decade. Not to mention more than 1 million injuries and 80,000 deaths connected to devices over the same time.
We're not the worst, but we're definitely not the best.
This bioethicist says one of Canada's biggest failings is the lack of transparency. Neither Health Canada nor the industry are required to share a lot of information about what goes in our bodies.
Our governments have internalized within departments like Health Canada a logic where we also have to protect industry interests. The problem is, very often, industry interests look like they're more important than public interests.
In the coming week, you'll meet the faces behind the devices and hear their stories.
I feel like I'm a lab rat.
I never thought in a million years that that was the reason why I was getting sick.
I think we will have the same problem again and again.
And Vic joins us now with more on this. So Vic, what did either Health Canada or the Industries Trade Association say when you took all this to them?
Well, Health Canada wouldn't do an on-camera interview, but they did give us a lengthy response to our dozens of questions. And in it, they said high-risk devices are approved without clinical trials if they're similar to something on the market. And they wouldn't tell us how often that happens, but we know that in the U.S., for example, it's more than 90% of the time. Health Canada says it does look for new information after people start using these devices under what they call real-life conditions. But that requires solid reporting of incidents when things go wrong, and Health Canada acknowledges those problems are underreported. Although as early as next year, hospitals will have to start telling Health Canada about device incidents. It was just voluntary before. Now, for its part, Medic, which is the Canadian Trade Association for device makers, they also turned down our request for an interview, but they point out that you just can't do clinical trials on medical devices the way you do pharmaceuticals, giving one patient the actual treatment and the other patient's a placebo, and that medical devices have helped millions of Canadians without any complications.
Okay, Vic, thanks very much. I know there's more to come.
You're welcome.
And we do have stories from this investigation rolling out all week. Tomorrow, we will meet Canadians who've had major issues after their medical implants, including a woman named Gloria, who suffered after receiving a hip replacement, a model that would later be recalled. Here's a preview of her story.
It was very painful.
Pain that only got worse, yet doctors dismissed her symptoms.
I had a doctor suggest to me that I was depressed. And because I was crying and begging him to do something. And I said, no, I'm not depressed. I'm in pain.
So when something goes wrong with a medical device like an artificial hip or a breast implant, it's often reported to Health Canada, but average Canadians haven't been able to search that data until now. Using the agency's medical device incident reports, CBC News has created a searchable database with information on more than 36,000 devices. You can find it at cbcnews.ca/medical devices. Okay, so let's turn to a development in another CBC News investigation from just a few days ago. The Manitoba government has launched a review into a private company that cares for foster children. CBC News reported the company was slow to act when it learned of kids being abused in one of its homes. The CBC's Katie Nicholson broke the story last Thursday, and tonight she shows us how the government changed course to take this measure and why it still may not be enough to satisfy critics.
Explosive admissions caught on a secret recording.
We dragged our heels big time. We really dragged our feet.
When the director of foster care at B&L Resources, a private for-profit company, admitted it didn't act quickly enough when kids were being sexually abused in one of its homes, it didn't take long for the matter to end up here.
Why won't this minister order an investigation today into what happened to the children in this very home?
At first, the government resisted calls to launch its own investigation, leaving it in the hands of Métis CFS, the child welfare agency that placed the children in the foster home.
We have to respect the agency's roles and responsibilities.
Just one day later, that changed. The Minister of Families told CBC News she has ordered a review into B&L Resources based on our investigation and new information her office received. What that information is unknown. The government won't talk about it. MLA Bernadette Smith pushed for the investigation. She's pleased, but worries the findings won't be made public.
We need to know what happened so that it never happens again. And if we don't know what happened and we don't know the results and what went wrong, how can we change the system to make sure that it never happens again?
Not everyone is cheering. The First Nations family advocate says this case should have prompted a review more than a year ago when the case manager who recorded the meeting first confronted her boss.
I don't think it should have taken this long and all this pressure to get the job done. You know, at the end of the day, there's little kids that were suffering in this home.
But for the parent whose children were the victims in this case, it's a good day.
It's good to be heard and taken seriously.
This is not the parent, but these are the parent's words.
I just want them to be accountable for not keeping my kids safe. Who knows if other kids aren't safe?
It's unknown how many are currently in BNL's care, but in 2016, the foster agency was looking after 275 children. The province says the first step of this review is to make sure those children are safe. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Now, this is a picture getting a lot of attention tonight. A woman and her young children running from tear gas fired by American authorities. One of many chaotic scenes in Tijuana, Mexico today, after hundreds of migrants from Central America stormed the U.S. border, desperately trying to reach U.S. soil. But reach it they did not. Paul Hunter now on the unprecedented measures taken to stop them.
On the Tijuana side of the U.S.-Mexico border today, mayhem. First, it was dozens of Central American migrants racing toward the U.S. border. Then it seemed there were countless. At times overrunning Mexican authorities in riot gear, climbing their way forward somehow. And no, that's not the U.S. on the other side, but it's close. In return, pushback from the American side was swift. U.S. military helicopters buzzed overhead as it appeared some migrants attempted to breach the border. And before long, from the U.S. side, tear gas fired toward the migrants, among them what appeared to be mothers with young children, as the chaos deepened. This afternoon, authorities closed the border crossing for everyone in both directions. The migrants had been fleeing strife and poverty in countries further south. They seek asylum in the U.S. At least 5,000 are now in Tijuana. It's overwhelmed. The city's mayor calls it a humanitarian crisis. Today, demonstrators had been highlighting the need for a faster response to their plight. We came here to protest, to add pressure, she says, to see if we can cross into America. Indeed, U.S. authorities have been processing asylum requests, but say it'll likely be months before they can get through all of them. Meanwhile, security on the U.S. side has lately been stepped up considerably. For weeks, Donald Trump has been warning, without evidence, that the migrants pose a security threat to the U.S., citing them as further evidence of the need for a fortified border wall. All of it today leading to this. "We are not criminals," chanted many of them as they tried to force themselves northward.
And Paul Hunter joins us now with more. So, Paul, has the U.S. president weighed in on this?
Uncharacteristically, no, at least not yet. Tonight, reporters shouted a question to him about the border when he returned from a weekend in Florida, but he didn't respond. There's no doubt, however, that this absolutely plays into his rhetoric on the issue. The images of those migrants trying to force their way into the U.S. will almost certainly be raised by the president at some point, though one Democratic congressman tweeted tonight, "Firing tear gas against unarmed families is a new low." For its part, Mexico now says it will deport some 500 migrants caught today trying to jump that border, also sure to be more fodder for Donald Trump in his never-ending push for that wall. Adrian.
All right, CBC's Paul Hunter in Washington tonight. Thanks, Paul. Now we're going to take a look at a developing conflict tonight that potentially could have global implications. Tensions between Russia and Ukraine are rising really fast. Russian aircraft are over the Kerch Strait. The strategic waterway in the Black Sea is blocked after an incident at sea. According to both Ukraine and Russia, Russia's Coast Guard fired upon, boarded, and seized the tug and 2 Ukrainian naval vessels it was accompanying. At least 2 Ukrainian sailors were injured, and now the world is pretty much on edge watching this crisis unfold. Joining me now with the latest is Renee Filipponi.
And On Edge is right, Adrian. Ukraine has convened its war cabinet and the president is calling for martial law in the country. Meanwhile, Russia has placed that massive cargo ship under a bridge, essentially blocking any Ukrainian vessels from being able to enter the Sea of Azov through the Kerch Strait. And Russia also responded with fighter jets and helicopters, each country blaming the other. But here is what we know about how it all unfolded. According to Ukraine, the ships were en route from Odessa in the Black Sea around Crimea to Mariupol on the Sea of Azov. Now, the only way to do that is to go through the Kerch Strait. And since Russia seized Crimea, it's become a potential choke point and a flashpoint. Since Russia blocked that strait, container ship traffic is already backing up. And if Russia keeps this up, it basically amounts to an economic blockade of Ukrainian cities like Mariupol on the Azov Sea.
So let's talk about reaction. What's it been in Ukraine and Russia?
Well, Adrian, a bilateral treaty gives both countries the right to use the Sea of Azov. But as you know, tensions have escalated since Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. So in the capital of Kiev, anger led to protests in front of the Russian embassy. All of this happening just days before the G20 summit, where Russian President Vladimir Putin will face world leaders, including U.S. President Donald Trump. Now, the U.S. ambassador to the UN confirmed there will be an emergency Security Council meeting tomorrow. And in a tweet, Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs condemned the aggression, reiterating support for Ukraine's sovereignty, and called on Russia to immediately de-escalate, release the captured vessels, and allow for the freedom of passage.
Okay, well, we'll see. Thank you, Renee. We'll know you'll be tracking the developments all night as it frankly turns into Monday morning in that part of the world. Renee Filippone in Vancouver. Still ahead on The National, we'll have more on the breaking news tonight. Bad news for thousands of workers at the GM plant in Oshawa. We'll go back to the plant for reaction from the community. Plus, consider him the spontaneous Santa. Meet the teenage rapper who decided to splurge on a good sale and treat local kids in Iqaluit to early Christmas presents. Plus, he was promised a huge return on a $250,000 investment. Now there are questions about where the money has gone. Next, his daughter goes public. And 2 years after dropping everything to focus on family and his ill son, Michael Bublé makes a roaring return to music. But first, he opens up to Tom Power about his life, love, and how he deals with the dark days.
Man, this is really good therapy for me. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna bill you.
You should bill me. I'm literally gonna walk away feeling better and lighter and...
Only have I for you.
We have a superior offense, stronger defense. Red Blacks have no chance. Stamps all the way, baby.
Such cheeky confidence. Ottawa fans will beg to differ. But one thing they can probably all agree on, Edmonton knows how to host a Grey Cup. This was the scene earlier today. Parties, parades, even a chance to handle the cup itself. All that, though, was just the warm-up to tonight's big game. The 106th Grey Cup is now in the history books with Calgary, the new champions of Canadian football. Rafi Boudjikanian is just outside Commonwealth Stadium. So, how'd it go, Rafi?
Well, Adrian, those Calgary Stampeders fans, turns out they knew exactly what they were talking about. Calgary won handily tonight, defeating Ottawa 27-16. Things didn't start out so well for the Stampeders. Red Black Jonathan Rose intercepted a pass, ending Calgary's first offensive drive.
Intercepted! Jonathan Rose!
Rose was to be suspended for recently pushing an official, but managed to play tonight while he appealed. But the Stamps have their own weapon, including one of the game's biggest moments, a length of the field touchdown run from Terry Williams. In the fourth quarter, Calgary caught a break when a touchdown by Ottawa was disallowed, and the Stampeders never looked back.
And that is it. The Stampeders are over the hump and back on top. 2018 Grey Cup champions.
this was a especially sweet victory for the Calgary Stampeders. They'd lost the last 2 Grey Cups, in one case to Ottawa, and they won this one in Edmonton, a city that was largely cheering for Ottawa tonight because of that old rivalry between Edmonton and Calgary when it comes to anything sports related. So you can bet those Calgary fans will be partying very late into the night, and at least from what I've heard so far, they'll do that as loudly as possible too, Adrian.
Okay, Rafi Boudjikanian on a pretty good gig outside Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, the scene of tonight's Grey Cup. Thanks, Rafi. Still ahead on the National, he says positivity is contagious. Hard to disagree with that. He's the 19-year-old rapper from Iqaluit who bought hundreds of dollars worth of sleds and toys to hand out to local kids on a whim. That's in our moment. But first, Canadian singer Michael Bublé opens up to Q's Tom Power about how personal struggle transformed him in an instant.
For me, it was like who I wanted to be changed very quickly, and I realized that I wanted to have a mission in my life to be kind.
Doesn't mean I love you anymore. Doesn't mean I love you. You better watch out, you better not cry.
You know this guy. Canadian singer Michael Bublé's success was explosive. On the charts, he went toe-to-toe with the likes of Adele. His albums among the best-selling of the millennium, and then in 2016, he walked away. A family tragedy consumed him, and as it turns out, changed him. Tom Power, host of CBC Radio's Q, sat down with the Juno and Grammy Award-winning artist following Bublé's dramatic return to the stage.
Michael Bublé!
Michael Bublé is back. 2 years ago, the Canadian crooner stepped away from the spotlight. His then 3-year-old son, Noah, had been diagnosed with cancer. So Bublé stopped everything, focusing on Noah's treatment and being a father. As the son recovered, Bublé slowly re-emerged, accepting a 2017 Governor General's Performing Arts Award.
Good evening, Vancouver!
And last March, hosting the Junos in his beloved hometown.
You can't know what it means to me to be here. It's been a couple years since I've been on stage.
Love, it's all that I can give to you.
Since stepping on that stage, life for Michael Bublé has been on an upswing. Doctors say Noah's cancer is in remission. Michael Bublé and his wife welcomed a baby girl to their family.
When I fall in love.
And that's all being celebrated with a return to music and his 10th album, simply titled Love. I met up with Michael Bublé earlier this week in Toronto.
I'm sweating already.
I feel good. Just wait till I start grilling you.
It's a stupid
and you'll start
coat.
sweating. Let's do it. Ready to do it?
Yeah.
Michael Bublé.
Action, top!
Nice to see you.
Really nice to see you again.
Last time I saw you was backstage.
Yeah.
At the Junos.
Yeah.
And you were giving me hosting tips.
Yeah, well, because I think you're that night, because this was that's like the party of the industry party. There's like, how many people are in that room? A couple thousand people?
Couple thousand people, yeah.
It's a big room. And
you were very sweet. I was very nervous.
So was I think.
Like you came up to me and you were like, hey man, are you nervous right now? I was like, yeah, I'm a little nervous. He goes, I'm so nervous about tomorrow night. I'm not cursing. I can't curse as much as I want to right now.
Because I was cursing.
Yeah, you were cursing. We were both cursing. And it was, I'm so nervous about tomorrow too, man, but we're going to be all right. Just get up there and look them out in the eye, and you're funny, and go out and tell them your jokes, because they should laugh at them.
And then you killed it.
It was all right.
Then you go out and killed it,
It didn't go too bad. So then the next night you get up in the arena. I mean, this was a big moment. How did you feel when you got up there?
I feel the same way no matter what I do now. I feel like everything is easy.
No nerves.
Listen, I think I care. I think there's a sense of wanting to have integrity with what I do and wanting to be good. I think everybody wants to be good.
I would agree with you.
But I think, when everybody's in all of our lives, we all go through hard things. And I think when you go through really hard stuff, I think it makes other things relative, and you say, wow, I thought this was tough, but no, this is easy. So that night, and all the other nights, and this interview, and all of the performances that I do, I actually really pray, practice, meditate on just enjoying and knowing how lucky I am.
Well, I want to talk about the new album. I want to talk about the future and all that stuff.
Sure.
I do want to talk a little bit about what you've gone through, not in any big detail. I just want to ask how your son is doing.
He's great, thank you.
He's doing all right?
He's great, thank you. And it's, if you can imagine, now I've gone to, I don't know how many countries, and every interview, of course, this is a question. Yeah. So for me, I understand that there's a, it's something I need to acknowledge, but I am so ready to move on.
Well, that was my next question. Is that like how have you found the actual act of people like me asking you about something incredibly personal in your life, like your son's cancer and your son's remission?
I don't think it's because you're a jerk.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I think that, you know what I mean. Your job as a journalist is to ask, to interrogate, to, you know what I mean, to find, you want to find out about the person. But I think it's painful for me, and also it's not fair to my family and to my kids.
No, and it's
because they and I mean, when I say it's not fair, you can ask them whatever you want, but they deserve the chance to move on, and they deserve the chance to be able to sort of not sit back in the past, but to be able to look ahead to the future and to be excited about all the beautiful things that are happening. And so I think it's more, Tom, about me having to have the strength and also to stop being so Canadian and not to allow it or to indulge it. I have to say to you, let's move on to the next question. You know what I mean?
It's not really any of our business. But, I think one thing that's been clear to me even so far in this conversation is that some sort of transition happened to you personally. Like you said after what I went through, after you go through something hard like this, after what my family went through, you can't help but. So all these things lead me to believe that some kind of mental, existential transition happened. And I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah, and I think, you know what? I think it should. I think I realized that a lot of the things I had worried about, a lot of the things that I thought mattered, just are not important. And I think, I really wanted to experience the positive things in life and the beautiful things, because I got a sense of mortality. I got a sense of truly the things that are important in life. And for me, every single moment started to matter, and being in the moment started to matter, and being awake in that way.
Hey, Michael, is that change an immediate change?
For me, it was.
Or is that something that you have to work on?
No, Tom, for me, it was like, there was a snap moment. It was not a matter of weeks or a mantra I told myself. It just happened very quickly for me. And I think the understanding of how my world changed, or how I saw who I wanted to be, changed very quickly. And I realized that I wanted to have a mission in my life, to be kind. And I thought to myself, you know what? I don't want to indulge the cynical people. I don't want the negativity in my life. I want to just bring joy. This world is tough enough and cynical enough and scary enough, and I just want to bring love.
I definitely understand the impulse to want positive things around you all the time. But I have to admit that I'm listening to you and going, sometimes the world is hard. It's just a hard place, and it's hard to avoid.
It is.
It's hard to turn that stuff off.
From politics, the divide of government, from everything. I mean, there was just so much stuff happening. There's a racial divide, Brexit and Donald Trump, and it was just like the world feels like it's falling apart, and I just didn't want any of the negativity. And it's why
it's hard not to wake up in the morning and check your phone and feel.
And I have days, so many, just like you and just like everyone else, where I am so not the guy that I want to be.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is, for me anyway, is, man, this is really good therapy for me. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna bill you.
You should bill me. I'm literally gonna walk away feeling better and lighter and...
Tell me what you do on the bad days. What do you do on the bad days?
The truth?
Yeah. If you want to.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I was in London, and I was feeling anxious. I had to do a really big TV show called The Graham Norton Show.
'Cause I only have eyes for you, dear.
And I was, like anyone would be, I was trepidatious and nervous that I wouldn't be funny or myself, or the anxiety was getting to me. And so I called home on, what do you call it, Skype? I had my two kids looking at me, and I said, boys, Poppy's nervous, I'm scared. It's getting to me today. And I said, would you pray for me? Would you help me to remember what's important? And they closed their eyes, and God knows what it is they said, because they didn't say it out loud. I just heard one of my kids finish off and say, like, amen, and then he looked at me and he said, okay, Poppy, you know, I talked to God and it's gonna be okay. And man, I just, instantly, I felt like I just remembered again, you know?
And I only have eyes, you know I only have eyes, only have eyes for you.
Tell me about the decision to make this new record.
Can I show you something?
Yeah, lay it on me.
Can I have my phone? Because this is the weird part. So before I saw you, I didn't know I had no idea if I was going to make a record.
So this was the night at the Junos,
Yeah.
the night before the Juno broadcast.
So a month before that, I invited all these guys over to my house, and we just had fun. And we started to make music, and the record came that day. Me sitting in our living room jamming, and I was like, I had forgotten how much I loved music.
Really? You'd forgotten?
Not forgotten. I'd forgotten how much I loved making music with those guys.
Yeah.
And, oh, here. So check this out. So have you heard the record yet?
Yeah.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, I got
So,
the
like, you
dance.
can name it something, like When You're Smiling.
When You're Smiling.
So check this out. So I put the phone up against the piano, and
So drums and bass up front, or what? Yes, or just vocal pickups and we're right in.
Is it your house?
When you're smiling, when you're smiling.
and that's it, man. And you can go through the list of songs, and they all just came like that. And so it's been really funny because David Foster, we had met again months before that even, and he said to me, I'm retired. I'm never coming back.
Right.
And I said to him, yeah, and he said, what about you? Are you gonna come back? And
That's what they said about you too, right?
yeah, and I was like, well, that was some bullshit.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah, obviously that's not true.
tabloid bullshit. But anyway, and I looked at him and I said, what about you? He said, nah, I'm done. I'm retired. And I said, oh, but wouldn't it be fun if you and me could go into the studio and like just be family again? And I think that day it sort of put a spark into the other man's mind. And then about a year later, we were making beautiful music.
Michael, thanks so much. Nice talking to you.
It's always nice talking to you. You know what the truth is? We could throw away the cameras.
I think we should.
We could get some drinks and I could hang out with you like this all day.
I can't wait. You let me know. I got lots of bars in my neighborhood.
Dude, I like the way you say bars too.
I suspect that's exactly what happened. You can hear more of Tom's conversation with Michael Bublé tomorrow on Q. That's at 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. on CBC Radio 1. And of course, you can find it online at cbc.ca/Q. Next, on The National, we will go back to Oshawa for the breaking news. The GM plant in that city, home to thousands of workers, is shutting down. Plus, her dad invested $250,000, but the promise of return was just, it turns out, too good to be true.
Very quickly, it was apparent to me that something was very wrong.
She goes public. Next. Let's go back to the breaking news we're tracking reaction to tonight. General Motors will be closing its operations in Oshawa, Ontario. The move will affect thousands of high-paying jobs and is believed to be part of a large global restructuring by the company. So that's why we need to go talk to Natalie Nanowski, who is outside the GM plant in Oshawa. Natalie, what are people there saying to you?
Adrian, I've seen a lot of sad faces here tonight. We're stationed inside the employee parking lot, and we've been stopping workers as they come, drop their cars off, and head inside. Many have been telling us the common thread really is that there have been rumors for weeks about a possible closure. The mayor was also here speaking to us, and he pointed out how GM has had a huge part, in Oshawa, that people have family members who have worked here or who currently work here. And he told us that his biggest frustration in all of this is the lack of information. And that was really echoed also by the local MPP. She told us that Oshawa isn't just the only one that's going to be affected. She raised questions, brought up concerns about the other GM plants in Ontario. There's one in Ingersoll. We also know that there's one in St. Catharines. So have a listen to what she had to say about that.
We have sister plants in this province, and I don't know what that means for them, if it means anything for them. But to have this kind of uncertainty with an announcement of this magnitude is not the way that you do business, frankly. And it's certainly not what we are owed. Oshawa has invested their blood and sweat and efforts for 100 years. The company could invest something in us.
So we did reach out to General Motors. The only thing that they told us is that they're not going to be commenting tonight. We're going to have to wait until tomorrow morning for details. Adrian?
Okay, thanks, Natalie. Natalie Nanowski outside the GM plant in Oshawa tonight. Let's turn to another story now. Imagine entrusting your retirement savings to your longtime accountant, hoping to build your nest egg, only to then see it disappear and learn the police won't investigate. That is exactly what happened after a senior citizen in Ontario invested $250,000 in a questionable scheme. Erica Johnson has this Go Public investigation.
Diane McEwen-Lovey's noticed something strange going through her father's paperwork after he developed dementia.
This was the actual agreement.
Back in 2008, her father signed an agreement arranged by his trusted accountant, investing $250,000, a big chunk of his retirement savings, and promising a 24% rate of return.
My background is financial services, so very quickly it was apparent to me that something was very wrong.
The agreement was with an unknown company operating in a place called the Principality of Hutt River in Australia. It claims to be a sovereign state, but isn't recognized by any government anywhere. She plays a recording of a call with the accountant asking what happened to her father's money.
It's a complex issue.
Okay, so what's the current balance on that product?
There isn't any per se.
So how much did Dad invest in it?
Oh, I don't remember the details of that.
And so what's the balance right now?
I just told you I don't know.
When McEwen-Lovey's brought her concerns to Kingston Police, they told her in an email that they couldn't investigate because her dad now had dementia.
It's very frustrating because I don't have any other recourse or place to turn.
Go Public also contacted Kingston Police. They said they couldn't discuss the case because of confidentiality.
Maybe we can look through the transcript of the call.
McEwen-Lovey's turned to a recently created free clinic at Osgoode Hall. Law students help people who believe their investments have been mishandled. They think police should investigate the case, even though the alleged victim has dementia.
Municipal police are really focused on traditional crimes involving physical harm. I think the police are less well-equipped and or well-resourced to deal with economic crimes.
We requested an interview with the accountant, Doug Raymond. Where did that money go? It was $250,000 and there are no records. But he didn't return our calls or emails. Diane McEwen-Lovey says it's not about the money anymore.
At this point, it's really about ensuring this doesn't happen to others.
Erica Johnson, CBC News, Vancouver.
The Moment is next, but first we want to give you a sneak preview of what's coming up on episode 4 of Ian's podcast this week. If you're not already listening, you'll want to. The National teamed up with CBC Podcast for Uncover Bomb on Board. Ian and Johanna Wagstaff investigate one of Canada's largest unsolved mass murders, the bombing of Canadian Pacific Flight 21 more than 50 years ago.
You have to go on the balance of probabilities. Is that plausible that someone walked up to the aircraft, got on board, planted a bomb of all places in the lavatory, went undetected until the flight was in midair? And if that happened, who is this guy? What's his motive?
There's no way. That's just not anything he would do, I'm sure. In my heart, I know that.
Getting black gunpowder back then wouldn't have been tough, I guess.
Not an issue. You would just buy it at your local store.
And what about dynamite? How hard would that be to get, do you think?
The same deal. 2, 1.
Well, here's a seasonal recipe for you, a spur-of-the-moment decision, a little holiday magic, and you get a lot of happy kids. So Devin Youngson, known by his stage name Little Def, had just returned home to Iqaluit after performing in Ottawa and Montreal, and he decided to head to the grocery store where he found sleds for 50% off. Such a great deal, he bought all of them. What he did with them is our moment of the day.
I bought the store out of these GT snow racers, and I'm about to give them out to random kids on the street.
After a fire burned down its warehouse, the store Northmart had a sale to celebrate reopening. When Youngson wandered in to check it out, he initially didn't see much that caught his eye, but then
I saw these GTs there, and I thought that me and my friends and other people could have like a crazy time on it.
He bought 11 GT snow racers and 4 snow scooters. Then he filled up the back of his truck and drove around Iqaluit, giving them out to kids on the street. They were having such a good time, he and his buddies filmed the fun and posted it.
Because it's a crazy deal, and like it's only gonna happen one time, so you know, that's what I did, and hopefully I made a lot of people happy.
I got a GT!
If making kids happy was the goal, mission accomplished.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No problem.
All right, not the only act of kindness in Iqaluit. When that fire raged for some 22 hours, the store was then open less than a week later, in part because so many strangers just came in to help them open up. That is a national for Sunday, November 25th. Good night.